Can't hear anything.
Yeah, I know because it isn't running.
Yeah.
Two bald guys and they're talking about hockey. Two bald guys and they're talking about hockey. Two bald guys and they're talking about hockey. Two bald guys talking about hockey. Two bald guys and they're 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 talking about hockey. And they're bald.
Hey, boys.
Hey,
My jam.
there you go. Welcome. We have a third bald guy, although there is a little hair up there, I see.
For now.
He's got way more on his face than I've got on my head. So,
I don't know.
welcome to Mark Stefanelli, GM of the New Jersey Devils, joining the two bald guys. And I'm going to let John talk to you for a bit while I get it posted, the site posted up onto our Facebook group so you guys can discuss and
So, Mark, welcome to the Two Ball Guys.
Thanks for having me.
We've you and I have talked trade quite a bit over the years and chatted quite a bit. So it's nice to talk to you in person for the first time ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to see everybody. I haven't had many draft picks. I haven't had a reason to jump on to see everybody. But yeah, it's great to be on. And I think this is the first year in a while I haven't gotten a backup goaltender from you.
And yes, true. Usually I trade my backup to you or to try to rebuild or continue to get better slowly.
I guess what I would say is, what good did it do you, Mark?
I guess it
Hey,
didn't.
he made it to the finals 2 years ago.
I like to think that that was a big help. I really believe that having a high average goaltending makes a big difference. So when you have a very bad goaltender as a backup,
Yeah.
it doesn't surprise me when your goaltending is crappy.
I believe I was your biggest fan of the year that you went to the finals too.
Yeah.
I was the one pumping your tires, buddy.
Yeah, because
How did you
I
play
went
the
on a
finals?
ridiculous win streak towards the end of the year. I don't know
Oh,
what
that
happened.
was the year you were like at like 9 points behind me at one point, and I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
I don't
yes.
know that that's enough, and it wasn't.
You lost against St. Louis, eh?
Yeah, the Blues. I didn't
I was
expect to see
shocked.
them there. I didn't expect to see me there. And then when we got there, I think I was a little overconfident. I was like, okay, I think I could do this. And no, I can't. Once again, the injury bug, and that was it. I lost two
Wow.
of my best players, and could not come back.
Yeah, it's hard to recover from injuries to your best players in the playoffs, especially.
A lot of fun getting there, though, and I think that's what it's about. Win
Yeah.
or lose, it's competing, trying to be as good as you can be. And though you want the cup every year, I'm happy to compete and put up a good fight.
Yep.
Well, okay. So Mark is joining us to. We're gonna hammer out the Metro and give you all a. This is like you. Ian doesn't even need to run the sim because we're gonna tell you what's gonna happen.
Well, I got to
And
change my answers then.
Mark, as I've said before, one of us is here for brains, Jean, and one of us here for good looks, me. So you're gonna have to find your own role. Like I don't know, obviously not the good looking one,
No,
obviously
clearly.
not the smart one.
Clearly.
Maybe you can be the funny one.
Maybe. I haven't been that funny in my life, but now's a good time to try.
Yes, it's never too
This is
late.
your audition. Welcome.
There we go. See if I can make it.
Okay, so we'll start off. We'll kind of do it like we did last week. Um, and
So
we'll go
while you're
team
doing
by
that,
team in alphabetical order.
yeah.
And we will I guess we're starting off with
Be-
Carolina.
Before we do that, Steve, can we take care of some
Oh, you want to do the business involving
take care of
the
some business first?
sure. Do you want to be able to share screen?
Yes,
Okay.
please. So
Everyone, I am passing it off to Jean because Jean is going to show you also. This is a public service announcement from
yes.
Jean.
Well, I was called out by the commish for not not doing the job that I was supposed to do that I said I did, when I said that my team was all good. And then I got called out because I had two players that had a salary above $1.5 million, but didn't have the check mark under pro salary. So if you look at the client page for Nico Mikola, if you click on the player's name whenever you're in a Simon T, what's the name of it? Simon T.
That
Whatever.
thing you
client.
have to load your lines in.
Exactly. So the client, so you go to Nico Mikola, he has a salary above $1.5 million. So he should have a check mark under pro salary in farm one-way contract. So he should have a check mark here. Not that I can put the check mark, Ian has put the check mark. So in the Facebook message that Ian put, I should have replied, Nico Mikola and Oli, my other player, they both have a salary above 1.5. They should have a check mark. So again, there's only 14 of the 32 owners that have replied. So again, I'm asking everyone to reply so that Ian doesn't have to go and check everybody's teams. And then so we can start the season on a good foot in a positive note, because Ian does a lot of work and for the league, and it's a lot of work to go team by team to try to figure out which players don't, and like, so if we can do that for him, I think it's minimal for us to do that. It takes 5 minutes, and then we can move on. Okay, so I think that would be it, and then we can start with the go by a division by team by team in the Metro division. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, so that has concluded our public service announcement.
Yes.
Thank you, Jean, for making me feel like an idiot, because I'm one of the ones that was called out as well, and rightfully so. I guess I didn't get it done, but I honestly had no idea how to do what he was talking about. So, and I had to figure it out on my own today. So
I told Ian last night that I'm not very smart. He needs to explain. He needs to show me pictures. Don't give me words, show me pictures.
I just envision you having one of the picture dictionaries from a kindergarten class sitting in your office right now. Honey, can you look up a word for me? And it's like cow, and there's a picture.
It's like point at the cow, yes. Pretty much.
Moving
That's
hockey
it.
rosters for dummies.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to talk about the Carolina Hurricanes, Mike Giletto. We'll do the same sort of process we did last week, where we'll talk about the money situation, then the futures, and then the player contracts and the
And the
lines.
depth chart. And
So, yeah.
and I will tell you, every team in the Metro had their depth charts set up already today. There was only one owner that I had to reach out to, and he did it right away. So I was really happy to see that.
Oh, who are you gonna call out?
I'm not going to call him out because he
Come
did it right
on.
away.
What's
He
that?
he did it right away. I'm not going to call him out,
Okay.
but you know him very well.
I know him very well.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gauging your suggestion as I might know who it is.
I think you're going in the right direction.
Okay. So Carolina does have a fair amount of money. They do have some cap space, 28 million cash and like what, 4 million in cap space. That's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nice to have.
Yeah. Anything you want to add on that before I click over to future?
No. We can go to Team Future right away. He's in good shape.
I think there's some
Yeah.
opportunity certainly to use some of
Yeah.
that cap space to
Yeah.
fill some depth issues, but it's about that.
Yeah.
He hasn't drafted a whole lot the last couple of years, if I recall, just from doing
No,
the draft.
he usually trades his first round pick, and I usually end up with it. So I think I've had 3 of his first round picks since I've started the 3 or 4.
So you couldn't get
Right.
Denver Barkey. You had to get stuck with, like, say, for example, like a Tijagin.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I had
Sorry,
to.
Denver. Jean's a settler. So yeah, I mean, Denver Barkey is the one that I
Yeah,
probably most all his
he doesn't.
prospects.
He doesn't have a lot of prospects.
So, although I hear good things about Oliver Kapanen, I can't say I'm as big a fan as what I hear people, but
Well, if you listen to the Montreal Canadian fans, Oliver Kapanen is going to be a first line center in the NHL for the Montreal Canadiens.
well, tell me one Montreal Canadiens prospect that the Montreal Canadiens fans don't think will be.
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, I mean, I think he's got some decent prospects. I will say that, and he still has his first round pick, which is very unusual for him.
Well, he's going to trade it away because he needs some depth on his team.
Sure.
Let's go there next.
Maybe you should be trading Tijagin for that first round pick.
No, because it's not going to help him right now. He's trying to win.
Yeah, and Tijagin is that hack that barely worth a first round pick. Okay, so we'll go to the lines here. I
No,
promise I'll stop
the
after
finance.
Carolina.
Finance first.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant.
So he's got a decent team, but he needs to win now, doesn't he? Am I
I
right?
think so. I think so. And I think he has power to do it, right? He's got some lines. He's got some offense. He's definitely got some defense. I think goaltending is his weakness, in my opinion. And then there's the depth issue. I don't think there's much in the way of depth here. He loses a primary guy. He's in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. And
But if you
go
go
ahead.
down, Steve, to his farm team, he's got a pretty good player here in Brock Faber.
Oh yeah, but he's going to be up on his defense.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So
wow, they gave him an 86 overall.
yeah.
He's really good.
No, I
Really.
get he's really good. It's just that there's a real imbalance in the ratings provider between
Because
some.
he was rookie of the year, wasn't he?
I have no problem with Brock Faber being rated
It's
86.
rare that you see a rookie get an 86 after 1 year.
Yeah, for sure. So okay, anything else on?
So he's got some room, and he doesn't have any bad contracts that I see, but he doesn't have a lot of time to try to win because he's losing at least 3 good players on his team and his number 1 goalie.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call out, and I would expect to see him be aggressive this year because of that.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we'll go to the lines. The depth chart, as we say. And like this is a solid lineup for the first 3 lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And even the 4th line's pretty good. Like I don't hate this lineup, but I'm like Mark, where I kind of look at the goaltending, and I really don't know that.
Yeah, Kemper can take him to the cup.
I mean, he's had a lot of luck with goalies in the past, so if he, continues to do that, then the Hurricanes are going to be dangerous. I honestly think they have the second best offense in the division.
Oh, really?
Good. It's really good. It's just the goaltending's just not there, and again, the depth. There's no depth. He has any serious injuries, and I don't know how he's going to be winning many games.
Well, you can see that in the drop off he has, where his like the 4th line has Will Kiley in it.
Yeah.
Right, and Zach Whitecloud is his 6th defenseman. So, like, if he has to play with Matthew Kessel for an extended period of time, it might hurt.
Yeah, it will. well, and he doesn't have like Nicolas Aube-Kubel as his next best forward, I guess.
Yeah.
So if he gets an injury, he needs one of his, or Jack Drury, his best forward. So if he gets an injury from, everybody moves up one. So yeah, but he's got a good team. I think he's going to be competing for the top spot in the division.
Oh, really?
And I think so. Like I think there's 4 teams in that division that are lock to make the playoffs, and those 4 teams could, if one of the other teams gets an injury, and he gets on a hot streak, and he like, he's not afraid to trade his first round pick. He trades it every year to try to get better. So, and he does. So, I think and I think he's a good team that can compete.
Well, I think he's going to be in that like you said, 4 teams. I think he's the 4th team, and
I don't disagree,
and
but if
I
he
don't even put
gets,
Columbus really far out of it. So then it's 5 teams that you kind of, and maybe that one, like I'm thinking he's going to be fighting for that final playoff spot, or the first wild card, I guess would be
yeah,
the.
I agree with that. I just think if he gets a hold of a goaltender, like a real goaltender, then all
Yeah,
of a sudden gloves are off and he's going to be
yep,
dangerous.
exactly.
I will definitely agree with that.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess we will move on to the Columbus Blue Jackets, who were a big surprise last year. Like I don't think anyone, they were in the hunt till the last day of the season, and I don't think it's wrong to say that they were a surprise. So
No, 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 I agree. It's but he's right against the cap. He's got $1.3 million, $2.3 million left, and he's got $10 million in cash. So it's he might need to acquire some cash to make it, or make the playoffs.
well, if he makes like, I don't think he's that far out of the playoffs. like
No,
it's
I
like
think he's
I think he might be a second wild card.
absolutely. He's going to be competing with the Rangers and um, with Tampa Bay and Boston, and
I'll even put me in
who's
that
the
in
team I'm
Montreal,
missing them? And Montreal.
Montreal, and me.
Yep. Yep.
Like there's gonna be a bunch of us in that area.
I agree.
So
Futures.
futures. Uh,
He doesn't have a lot, but he's got some decent guys there. Sandin Pelika.
well, we'll have to see if Fraser Minton makes the Leafs this year.
Yep.
I'm not so sure he will.
Um, Kamel. Uh,
Oh,
Bronseg
Brunswick
Nygaard.
Nygaard. Yeah, we both like him.
Pickering.
Pickering's been good too. Like he's been developing well.
Yeah. And I think at Artemonov, I think that was a really nice pick at 44. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got a way better farm or prospect system than I do. No question about that. There's talent there. And actually, I think back to my best prospect turned player came from his system before he had it, Sorokin. So they obviously turn out players in Columbus. There's no question about that.
So he's basically your farm system, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
well, he was for a minute there before he took over the team.
Yeah.
Farm team Meg.
Actually, I got Mangiapane originally from him, or from his team, and Sorokin, and then Mangiapane eventually made his way back to me. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I like what he's got going on here. Certainly, it'd be nice if he still had his first round pick, of course. But
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what he does because he is a fringe team, and
Well,
I mean,
if
he
you
could go
look at
either
his
way.
contracts,
Okay.
um,
He's got a lot of
he's got to win
UFAs
now.
coming.
He's got to win now. And that's a guy, like you said about Carolina, that needs help. He doesn't have any depth.
Yeah, and lacks in goaltending. I think he has better goaltending than Carolina does. Certainly, he's got the depth in goaltending at least, but he doesn't have a true starter, in my opinion. And I think that would be what keeps him down, especially in this division. This is a
Mhm.
goaltender's division. It's been
Yeah, and it'll
historically,
be
and it's going to
interesting to
keep
see
being.
how Bennington sims, right?
Yeah. But like if he like next year, it's he's gonna have to start his rebuild next year.
Yeah, at least he's got a second goalie he can rotate though. Like if Bennington isn't it, he's got a guy he could at least throw in that isn't significantly worse. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that I think is an advantage that Carolina doesn't have. And that's why I think they're so close. But Carolina just has an offense and a defense that's on a whole other level.
Yeah.
Isn't Varlamov playing in Vegas this year?
Yep.
NHL Vegas? I think it is NHL Vegas.
I think
It'll
so.
be interesting to see how many starts he gets if he plays in Vegas. If I'm right, I think he is playing in Vegas. But anyway, let's move on to the depth chart. And I think this is what I forget which one of you mentioned this, but depth was the problem. And like I love his top line.
Mm-hmm.
Really good top line. Even the second line is gonna cause problems for teams in the league.
Yeah.
But then it really kind of falls off, right?
Yeah.
I love Steven Nason, but as a
Third line.
fourth line center, not a third line center.
Yeah.
Cole Sillinger, like I thought he would be much better than he's been, but he's
He
taking
should be
some.
rated higher than 78. Like this is
But
another example of the
he
he
had
wasn't great last year in the NHL, but I mean 78 is a fringe NHLer rating.
yeah.
So okay, and defense,
There's a
same
familiar
thing. Like
face.
I don't hate. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I don't like seeing Doughty playing for another team in the division this year. That bothers me a little bit, especially it being Columbus because he obviously can catch lightning in a bottle.
Well,
But
that was a UFA signing, right?
yeah, yeah, there's no way I was keeping him. Just no way. But yeah, again, it's depth. It's a lack of a real starter. But this is a team that has to make it, so you got to think he's going to be aggressive too. I just wonder
Well,
which
and
way is he going to go with that.
makes good trades. I think. Like I wouldn't call him a shark either. Like I think he makes good trades, and
Yeah.
they seem to be reasonable.
You know what? Mig is one of those guys that I like to talk trade with because he doesn't try to you know, take your best player for his worst player.
I like him because he's straightforward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, it's exactly the
Agreed.
way I like to negotiate too.
Well,
Yep.
and you get a good sense right away whether it's there's an opportunity for a trade or not, right? Like whether
Mhm.
the two heads are gonna come together. And I mean, some guys they start off lowballing you, and you're like, do I really want to play this game?
Yep. It's like, yeah,
Okay,
I think you and I too far apart.
exactly. Okay, so who's next here alphabetically here? It looks like New Jersey. Is
New
that New
Jersey.
Jersey?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Those
Okay, the
guys.
gloves are coming off.
Yeah.
Only $60 million in cash.
I know.
Like,
Like, what the hell?
what
I don't
you should
spend
be like
any.
putting on buffets for your players before every game,
Well,
man.
the thing is, Mark made it to the finals 2 years ago. So you make some money, made the playoffs, and I think you made it to the second round last year too, right?
I lost in the first round last year.
You
Gage took
lost
me
first
out.
round. Oh
That's
yes.
why I'm really happy to see that he's disappeared from the radar.
I've
I don't have to deal with him ever again, or at least not for a while. But yeah, I've been in the playoffs for a few years. I don't even know how many now. I should probably go back and count. So that helps. And also, I don't spend any in free agency. I really don't. I
well,
never
you
sign
you were
anybody.
against the cap, so you didn't have any money to spend in free agency.
Yep,
Well,
try to
you
keep
were
it
the
close.
beneficiary of some really nice Luke Wiley donations to
Yep,
your friends,
Oh
I
right?
did
yes.
get the Tarasenko deal, which well, I don't know where
You
that
won
came
that.
from.
That was a lottery, right?
Yeah, I don't know why that happened, but I wasn't gonna turn it down. Tarasenko, somebody I was trying to get for years, but he hasn't really done much of anything for me. So there is that. There's you get that karma back,
Yeah.
however it plays out.
Luke giveth and Luke taketh away, right?
Mhm. He did take away Kaprizov from me, though.
Oh,
So there is that.
Oh,
And I never got him back.
that hurts.
well, that might be one you regret.
Yes, that's definitely one. That was in I got Hall in that trade. So, Hall did good for me, but
The face off is
Okay.
yes.
You still have most of your picks here, my friend.
yeah, I've talked about some of them. I'm always open to flipping them, but I do like keeping them too. I want to make sure I get something I can do something with. And if I'm not going to get something I need and can do something with now, I'm not looking for like something that makes things look a little prettier. I need impact. So we'll see if I end up keeping it. I think I might this year.
Well, the first name that jumps out at me is Isaac Howard, and I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of Isaac Howard.
Yeah. A lot of my good prospects actually graduated and are sitting in my farm system this year. There's not a lot to look at in my prospect list, truly.
Well, the one thing that I remember, it was in 2022. I was looking at one of the two goalies to draft in the third round, and you picked up Coco and Lennon in the second round back to back, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was looking to get one of those two guys in the third
I
round.
definitely reached, but I was looking at my future. I'm like, I got to get something in here that, I got to dust off this empty space here, and I got to put somebody there. I didn't have anything to look forward to for goaltending, so I just went
Yeah.
strong,
Did you
and we'll see if
draft
it
Aiden
pays it.
Thompson, or did you trade for him?
I drafted him if I remember correctly. I don't
Wow,
recall trading for him.
that's a good pickup. That's because he's had very good progress since.
Yeah, there's a few guys like that. Like nothing crazy, like not super high draft picks, but they're rounding out nicely. And I'm pretty happy about that. Like I said, they're sitting in my farm team. They're
Yeah,
no longer prospects, but I'm hopeful. And you know what? I build from a little bit from the draft and from trading. Like I said, I stay away from free agency, so I'm really hoping to get some hits here.
well, Jean and I both are quite familiar with Thomas Hamara, and I
Yes.
think Jean's as much a fan of him as I am. Like I think I I really liked it when Ottawa drafted him. He's a Senators draft pick, and
So
so
since
Yeah,
Mark doesn't want to trade him to me, I hope he sucks. I've
he
been
probably
I've
will,
been
knowing my luck.
I've been trying to since he drafted him. I've been trying to acquire him from Mark, and he won't
I,
trade him to me.
I didn't realize I was opening up old wounds. I'm sorry.
No,
Yes, you are.
when I got him, I was really hoping that he would be like another Pionk for me, honestly. Like that's
Yeah,
really all I'm hoping for. And we'll see. But I really need that to happen.
he's starting first year in the AHL this year.
Yeah, and on like just from what I've seen of him, I feel comfortable that he's an NHL defenseman at some point. But
I agree.
we'll
Take it.
see. Although I will say I am much better at guessing defensemen than I am on forwards so far. Okay, so let's guess or not guess. Let's look at your finances.
Right
Matt
up against it.
Duchene, Vladimir Tarasenko, both UFA, and then Bortuzzo and Kazikas, yada yada.
Yeah, I just
So,
signed Bertuzzo. He was my free agent. I wanted some depth on defense, and yeah, I gotta have a couple big guys leave again this year. I lost Stamkos and Duchesne last year, and it'll be Duchesne and not Duchesne, Stamkos and Doughty
Ready?
last year, and I'll lose Duchesne and Tarasenko this year. So it's a lot of change for the Devils in a few years. So I had to make some moves, and the team went through a massive change. At least in my opinion. I lost Line in order to pull in some assets. Couture is injured for the year, so he's out. Won't see him. He was a major part of the team the last 2 years. It's just a very different look, and I'm hoping that more is more this year because I went to have as much depth as I could have, and my hope is that somewhere in there the chemistry lives. We'll see. I just think I have no offense compared to what I've had. That's a major weakness for me this year.
Yeah, and
Well,
Kuzmenko really tanked in the second year, like compared to his first year.
but he started to do well when he got traded to Calgary.
Calgary.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of McCann. I think he's doing well, and he's going to continue to do well. I think he's got 3 years in a row close to, like, he had a 40-goal season and two 28 or 29 goal seasons there. So it's and I love your Sean Couturier trade, because you didn't have a lot of cap space and you went and you got yourself a top 6 center for $4.4 million.
Yeah, from a rival.
Yeah.
And that's a guy that has been his guy for a long time. I understand why he did it. He needed to make some room to do all the things he did this offseason. But I looked at this as I have to do this. I need to get this player. I'm not going to have the offense that I've had of previous years, but at least the defense will be there. And I'm hopeful he plays beyond his stats. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. So
I don't mean this as a criticism. I actually mean it as a compliment. But on your trades, you seem to be very opportunistic. You seem to it's not like you're lucking into it, but you're getting really good trade value on players that you're getting.
yeah.
I try not to put myself in a position where I have to make a trade after a trade also, which I think handicaps some people. Like, I always make sure that if I'm going to make the deal, I'm getting what I need in the deal. Otherwise, I don't make it. So I think that's part of why that comes around.
Yeah.
Let's
Can
talk.
you go to his farm team? Yeah, I want to see the depth for his farm team. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to tell you that I have anything spectacular. It's nothing that's, any better than, I wouldn't even put it top 10 in the league, but there's some guys in there that I'm hopeful are going to surprise some people, like Samoskevich. He's solid. Stromgren is looking good. Lombardi's there.
Samoskevich played in the NHL for like a cup of coffee last year, if I'm remembering correctly. And I'm hearing I think he'll be a starter. He's with Florida. I think he's on the roster day one.
Yeah, and Florida needs the cap space, so he's probably going to spend some time with the team.
Yeah, Carter Mazur looks good too. I mean, like I said, there's some guys out there I'm hopeful for. And McCann was one of those guys years ago. And Connor McMichael is now a guy that just came up. Yeah, he's out of here as soon as Ian takes him off my roster.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Him and Foot. I've been waiting for them to be dropped. He's it pisses me off. McLeod's stats are fantastic, but I'm not even gonna go into that guy.
I can tell you things because I'm involved in the sport of swimming in Canada, and now I have to deal with shit because of Hockey Canada. Like the shit I have to go through because those jackasses did what they did.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
So one of the things I like about your farm team, Mark, is you have a lot of 21, 22, 23-year-olds. So you got guys that have potential that are coming up. It's not just guys that are in their 30s and.
Yeah, this is how I live. This is how I survive. It's the farm, that and trades, because I won't play in free agency. I refuse to mess around with that dance. It's crazy. I did it in my first year, learned my lesson, never did it again. Like, I get role players only out of free agency. I think Pavelski was my biggest signing ever, Pavelski, and that didn't work out.
I hope that one day I'll be there, Mark.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing the right thing in building you're building it from the bottom up. And then once you get that set up, then you're cooking.
Exactly.
Okay, so depth chart.
Real quick.
That's okay.
First line is really good.
Yeah, I like actually is like all the way through to the fourth line. I think that's a good mix of
a lot of good players, a lot of depth. Like
Will you
Fisher.
run with Kyler Yamamoto on your fourth line?
No, no, Bastion's going to be there. If not Bastion, Fisher. Yamamoto's probably not going to play this year.
Okay,
Uh,
because
I,
I
I,
was
yeah,
thinking of that today, actually.
yeah, I had him up there, but yeah, he needs to come down. So that's someone I need to switch out for sure. He just had a massive drop in defense compared to where he was last year.
Yeah, he did. Like, I was surprised he didn't have a very good season. So,
And
okay,
that's a
anything, Sean?
guy that dropped a lot. So on defense, I liked Vince Dunn, but and Pionk, but you were you've got guys. I think Haig, and I can't believe Kevin Ball has such a bad rating.
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
huge fan of Kevin Ball. So
It's not, I mean, it's playable. That's how I look at it. As long as you've
yeah,
got some defense and you can check and you got some strength, I'll play you.
yeah.
You can go in. And
So
that's really all I wanted out of him.
so
I've started going that way myself with players on defense. Is I kind of look at I'm starting to look at the guy how he plays in the NHL more than his rating because it just pisses me off when I see players that aren't rated evenly. Like when you look at Jamie Alexiak rated with an 83 OV and Kevin Ball with a 76, it's ridiculous.
mhm.
Yeah.
So,
To me,
anyway,
they're very similar.
so how do you feel on Sorokin this year?
Uh, I thought he was gonna actually drop more than he did in rating. I didn't think he had a great year. So I'm happy that he's still there, and I'm hopeful that he rebounds with the Islanders. And they seem to be a little more serious this year, so we'll see. I think he'll be good in the DCHL. I think he'll do what he needs to do. If I can get another year out of him, like he's given me the last two, I think I'll be fine. I really like Mrazek as my number two. Very happy with that. Like I talked to you guys about before, it helps bring up my overall, right? Which I really believe is important in the sim. And because of that, I think I'll get more wins than losses out of my backup. And that's been consistent every year. That's why I give you the picks I've been giving you every year, Sean, because I want that backup goaltender to make sure my OV's up. And I'll tell you,
Yep.
when I don't have it, my goalies don't play. They just don't.
Yeah. Your goalies, like your offense are going, your goalies are going to carry your team. But I think that the size and defense of your defensemen is still going to be decent. Um, so I think you're one of the teams that's going to be competing.
I think so
Uh,
too. I think the offense is going to kill me though. I think that's going to be my biggest problem, and I don't have the cap space really to do much about it. So I need the chemistry to happen, and that's why, like I said, I went for more. I have a lot of guys that I can put in the lineup versus having any. Like I don't have a single superstar in the lineup. You look at my forwards, there's not
yeah.
one.
So,
So we'll see
but
if it takes me there.
I
you got
I will
guys.
say this: I have seen Nico Hischier play live in Vegas, and he is one of my favorite players to watch. Like I again, I don't care what his rating is. I saw him play in Vegas, and Vegas came back from a road trip, and they just kicked the snot out of Vegas, and it was Hischier just being dominant all night. So maybe it was just a good night that's biased me, but I'm a huge Nico Hischier guy. So for what that's worth, I love him as your number one C.
If there was any way we could do a franchise tag or something like that in this league, he would be a permanent devil. I
Oh,
guarantee you that. But I know one day I'm going to lose him. It makes me sad.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, I like your depth up the middle.
see, but
I think
I like, but with the 10% and the extra bids, that's a big thing on a guy like Nico Hischier. Ten
It
percent
is.
off at a $16 million salary is $14.6 million salary. Like
But
that's a
do you
big
see
number.
him being worth $14 million when he's old enough
but he
to
will
get a
be
UFA
he
contract?
will be paid that. Once he hits free agency, have you have you seen the guys?
I love Heischer, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not paying $14 million for him when he's a unrestricted free agent.
But
It's not going
but
to
think
happen.
by the time he's a free agent, he's going to be the salary cap's going to be like 110 million.
Probably, yeah, I could see it going up, but still though, like I just like $14 million for one player.
I know.
I don't know how people can do that. Honestly, I don't know how you can do that. It's too much in one player, and you don't know what that player is going to play like in the sim. You just don't, no
Well,
matter what their ratings are.
I
Yeah.
will definitely be someone that considers paying that kind of, like, I'm only going to pay that on a superstar player. And
With like a 99 scoring and like a 99 checking type of stuff. Like, yeah, I get why you would
well,
do
I
that.
do it for the scoring more than I do it for the checking, like,
That's fair.
for sure. But anyway, we'll move on. But I'm needless to say, I'm just a big fan of Nico Hischier. Like, huge fan. New York Islanders.
Okay, should we have some protection to before we go into Shark Tank?
I feel like we should be playing the Baby Shark song going on in the background right now. Does Flax even watch us? I don't even
Yes,
know.
he does. He
He
does.
does.
That's why I said it, because I know he does. He watches it. So
Does he watch with like a little tear coming down his eye? Like,
every time we make a comment about him being a shark, I get a text.
Here's the
So
question.
what?
Will Flax win any playoff games this year?
Oh,
That's the question.
that's a good question. I think he will.
Playoff games?
Yeah,
Yeah.
any.
Because he
Sure.
didn't win any last
I'll
year.
give him one or two playoff game wins this year.
Go. He's definitely
So,
going to make it. It's just a matter,
Well,
is he going to win any?
okay, but you say definitely, and he had a good lineup last year, and it was the last game of the season that he got in, and it was
I know
by a
he.
hair.
I don't know how come he struggled so much last year. So,
I don't know, but
like, look how much money he's got. 105 million.
because he gets people to give him, like, here, I'll give you my first round pick and $20 million. Like
For your
he gets
fourth
people
liner.
yeah, like,
So
maybe he just sells hot dogs for like $100 at each game.
probably does. So
Okay, so
future,
Flax, there you go. You can message me this time, Flax.
future
Future Team Futures. He's got some decent
A
guys.
great future for those picks, 2 first-round picks.
like if you're gonna see later on, he's got Askarov as a goalie, and then look at the other goalies that he's got. He is like Nabokov that he picked up this year, Fowler. So
Our goalies. We'll have to wait and see.
like look at the guys he's got: Wielander, Luchenko, Will Smith.
At least I don't know what to say. He's done a great job of making trades. Like,
Matejchuk.
I'll leave it there. No,
He
he's done a great
has
job.
like, yeah, he's stacked. He's got power, he's got prospects. I think he's another team in this division that lacks some depth, but I don't know that that's going to matter with the talent that he has. He could probably bring up a farmer with 50s across the board, strap him in with his forwards, and he's going to be in fine.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt him.
The old John Gillies starting goalie.
Oh, and
If you remember that one, Mark.
he's got Lane Hudson.
Lane
Also,
Hudson. Yes. Yes. I insulted him once by offering Yaroslav Slavkovsky for Lane Hudson, somebody, and a first round pick or something like that. And he was insulted. So yada
so
yada yada. Here we go to
more
finance.
draft picks.
Everybody, like, I swear, every trade he makes too is the getting the guy with retention.
He only has one this year.
Oh well, poor guy.
So
I mean,
he
the sick
doesn't
thing
have
to
any
me
bad
right now,
contracts.
just looking at this roster real quick, he's got a $16 million player, and he's still icing this team. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
With cap space.
With cap space. And I think he's got more players on his team in his pro roster than he does than he should. Yeah, he's got 3 goalies, for example, and I think he's got more defensemen than he needs to address. So he's got more cap space than we than it
know.
shows even.
Is he running with Askarov as his backup?
Or Prosvetov. That's who he had as his backup last year.
I have to look at his lineup. Okay, depth chart.
I mean, it's the best offense in the division, in my opinion, and I don't know that that's really debatable. It's stacked. His defense is strong. His goaltending is strong. I mean, he's just got it all.
Yeah.
Well, his bottom pair defense, I guess, if he's got an Achilles heel, it would be.
You know what he has though? He might not have like the most talented defensive players or defensemen in the game, but what he has is a lot of strength, a lot of physicality, a lot of defense. So it doesn't matter. They don't need to score. His offense will cover it.
I know. He's got.
I've just not been a big fan of Nick Perbix, so personally. So
he could probably have me playing defense for him. And
well, that's I guess what I'm saying is that's a pretty.
So
that's a pretty big. Who cares if my biggest complaint is he's running with Nick Perbix on his third pair? Like,
well, I think that's his only weakness is the left side of his defense with Joseph and Perbix. To me, that's the only weakness he has. And he's got draft picks, cash, and futures that he can trade away.
Yeah, so mark this down on your calendar. Before we get to the trade deadline, he's going to weaponize something because he has a lot, and he's going to pick up another amazing asset to push his team over the top. And this Islanders squad is going to be scary
with retention.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know how he does it. He's the wheeler and dealer for sure. He's got the silver tongue of the DCHL, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And his goalie.
If I had Jaws theme music to play in the background, I would. Yeah, and like his backup goalies, like, I mean, I just hope that I'm playing against him when he's having to run with a backup.
Yeah.
That's the other place that he could improve, and somebody's going to trade him a backup goalie for cheap.
Yep. So. Okay, I believe we're at the Rangers.
Rangers. You know what? I was impressed. I didn't think the Rangers were as good a team as they have.
I was surprised that I had them closer to the 5th place team than what I thought I would.
So did I. Yeah. So he's going to need some cash because he might make the playoffs if he makes a few trades, but it's
like if he was in our division, I'd listen to that. But being in the Metro, that's a pretty big ask.
Yeah, I already said there's 4 teams that are way better than everybody else in that division.
Oh, so. Flax has messaged me. So, should I read this live? Like, let's
read it live.
Stop hating, Steve. I'm the good guy. The real shark is coming up, orange and black. I don't know what that means, but I think he means that Philly. I think he's taking a dig at Josh. And I won't disagree with you, Flax, because I do think that Josh is a shark too. Yeah. So there you go.
I agree. It's I think Flax is Jaws and Josh is a Meg.
I will say to Flax, if you're listening, part of my hating on you is also a little bit of jealousy and just general respect.
Admiration, respect and admiration.
Yes. And hating on you.
Yes. We hate that you're so good.
Uh, I have Blacks helps me practice my French. Yeah. I've had I've had a few conversations in French with him, and
Oh, good.
half the time I have to use Google Translate. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, he sent me another message, but I'm not gonna read this one.
Okay.
I feel like it could get emotional.
Yes.
Okay,
So
so 8 million. Yeah, that's not gonna be enough. I don't think 8 million is gonna be enough for
no.
him. Okay, team future. No first round pick again in New York.
For
Come
next 2 years.
on.
For next 2 years.
Oh my god, dude,
You know
dude.
what? For
Yeah, I'm
next
not
two
sure I
years.
understand that. I don't know how you make that move if you're in the Rangers situation. I'm not even sure what he picked up for it though, so maybe it was worthwhile.
I don't know how you BPA fourth pick overall or third pick overall in the draft,
No, that I don't understand.
Yes.
but that
So
I
he traded his 2025 first to
well,
get,
something with Washington.
no, it was with Seattle.
Oh,
Uh,
was that to get
to get number
back?
two.
Yeah, to get Lev Shunov.
To get number two. Or
Yeah,
number three. Number
number
three.
three. Number three. Okay. Yeah, I mean he's got Lev Shunov. Like I don't know that I'm sold that Lev Shunov is a top pair defenseman, but he was definitely one of the best defensemen in this draft.
Yeah. He's got
So
Mishkov.
who we both love. Or
Yeah.
I so
So
I need something to turn this thing around.
yeah. Well, hopefully Minchkov plays this year
yeah.
and plays well.
Yeah. And the 2026 first is just there's a condition on the 2025 first. So if it's top three, then he gets the 2026 first goes to Seattle.
Oh, okay. Okay, so finances. Did he sign Kopitar this year?
No, he traded for him.
Oh Lord.
Traded for
Scott
him
Lawton
from
at
Vancouver.
9.8 million for 5
But
years.
he got him for pretty much nothing. He gave up Sutherland, Olofsson, and a fourth for Kopitar and a third. So Vancouver was trying to get rid of a Kopitar salary.
Oh yeah, a lot of free agents leaving next year.
Yeah. The
But
bad contract that he has is Nate Schmidt at 6.1.
You like that Lawton contract?
why does Anze Kopitar have a no trade contract? Oh, is there retention?
I think there was retention at one point.
Oh, okay.
But which one, Mark? Which
Scott
contract?
Lawton for 9.8 million?
Oh no, I don't like that contract. I said that many
Yeah,
times.
that's just
Yeah, that's awful. For a 30-point player, like he has no offense. Yeah, that's an awful contract.
Oh, and Cam Atkinson ended up here.
So
Okay. I don't know. There's really a lot I want to look at here.
but
Logan
he's got
Cooley.
Cooley, Stankoven,
Love
Ryan
Logan.
Johnson, Miroshnikov. They're coming up.
Okay.
So
Say it with me, Jean. Miroshnichenko.
okay, sure. Miroshnichenko. Him too.
Playing the role of Don Cherry here.
I'm just as grumpy as Don Cherry too.
Are you in New Jersey, Mark?
no, I'm actually in Florida. I used to live in New
Okay.
York, so that's as close as I
Do you
was to
get the
Jersey.
Don Cherry reference? Being a
I,
Florida
I
guy?
know of them, but I never got to watch anything with them because we didn't get
I'm
it.
not a huge fan of him, but he never
So,
said a European guy's name right once in his career.
no, he screwed them up like worse than me. So
It's like Donald Trump saying Kamala's name. Like at some point you just think he's doing it on purpose.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. He struck me as
Okay.
a good old boy.
Yeah,
he was.
he was.
So
I think he still
the,
runs a podcast, but I don't know.
it's the team is not as bad as I thought it was.
I,
His goalies need help. obviously, in his defense, but
Yeah,
it's better. Like I thought
it's
he would be closer to 8 than he would be to 5th. And so,
okay. Let me ask you this though, because and I'll flip over to the depth chart while I'm asking you this. In 5 years, do you think this team, based off of what you see here, is a contending team in the Metro?
No.
And I say no.
no, because he's like half of his team, more than half of his team is going to be a free agent next year. So, yeah, no.
And this is a guy who's had a few years to.
But I won't remember, he only took over the team 2 years ago after the draft.
Oh yeah.
That's only like that was his first draft this year.
Was it his first draft? Okay, well maybe I'll cut him. No, he drafted Matt Mitchkov.
Did he? And
Yeah,
then he took the team just as the draft happened. Because
yeah.
I remember um Tyler was going to draft Tyler Mishkov also.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm
So
pretty
yes,
sure he
okay.
drafted. Oh,
Okay, so it's he's been in the league a year and 3 months.
yeah. Okay. I do like his forwards, but part
Like,
of it
I'm
is
not saying he's going to be competing for the Stanley Cup. He's just better than I thought he was. I
yeah,
didn't think this team was. I thought he'd be closer to 8 with Gage.
I think it'd be nice if he
well,
was better for not having his pick, frankly. I think
Yes,
that's an odd situation to be in, and I really don't think he has a chance of making any noise in the playoffs. So getting that pick would be great. And this
yeah.
or another one to substitute it, something.
Okay, so we'll just move on to is it Billy next?
Billy.
The big shark.
Yes.
Okay, 21
Yeah.
million. I am actually surprised that he does not have more cash on him than that.
Well,
Like
because
that surprised me.
he's spent in free agency this year.
Uh,
He was a big spender. So
Hmm, okay. Team future. He hasn't done a lot of early round draft picks, but Josh doesn't really do that. He kind of gets people to trade him their
Luke Hughes.
really highly rated draft pick guy for like two
or
Or
he
cheap.
Shatner.
acquires a high pick, like
Yeah,
right as it's about to be drafted.
yeah.
He gets the guys.
I think he has more picks in the top 10 than he's had second round picks.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. Fact check me on that. But like he has a lot of top 10 picks for a guy who's always made the playoffs.
I don't understand.
Well, he's got Berkeley Catton right now.
Yes.
So I mean, again, same as Flax. Part of it's a level of respect, but part of it is me shaking my head that people are making these trades. So anyway, we can move on. Or
Yep.
okay, and finances.
Well,
Evander Kane, Jeff Petrie, both with retention. Adios at the end of the year. Although I'll bet you $1 both of them are traded partway through the year, and he gets back something better for both of them.
I don't think he paid a lot for Kane in the first place.
No,
Memory serves.
so
and I remember Trevor was asking a lot for Kane, but nobody was biting. So, how did he end up with Jake Sanderson?
the GM in San Jose, when Luke
No,
left the league, this is an interesting story. When Luke left the league, he left a bunch of players to people, right? Jake Sanderson he sent to me. And when people were all accepting the trades, I said to Luke, I'll give you my first round pick next year so that it's a trade instead of you just giving me Jake Sanderson. And Luke said, okay. And then we went to go make the trade, but the bog had already blocked him out of making trades.
Oh.
So I was like, hey, like, but we actually made a trade here. Like, let the trade go through and not the giveaways. Like, okay, but let the trade happen. But they wouldn't even let the trade happen. So then the guy that they got to take over San Jose, who I'm talking about. He's the
Yep.
GM of San Jose. He traded him away to Philadelphia not too far after that.
So, and he's got, if you scroll down, he's got even more
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous.
players. Luke Hughes, Anton Lundell, Dylan Holloway. That was a gift from me.
He drafted Anton Lundell. Now he made a
Yes.
trade with Matt on the draft floor, we'll say,
Yeah.
to trade up to get Lundell. But and Dylan Holloway. I don't know. I've never been a huge fan of Dylan Holloway.
So
But yeah, no, he's put a bunch of good players together.
Cam York. He's got quite the team. One of the
Yep.
best in the league.
Oh, if you said the best in the league, I wouldn't even argue with you. So good job, Josh. I hate you a little bit
Yep.
and respect you a lot. And we'll go to depth chart where we'll really hammer it. I mean, this is a top team in the league, guys. No doubt.
Yeah, I think it's going to be dangerous on any day. And frankly, if he stumbles like we do sometimes, Josh is a capable GM and he's just going to correct it through trades, line changes, whatever he needs to do. So, I mean, if this guy isn't armed with as good as a team as we're looking at right now, he's still going to make damage and noise with it. So, I think the one saving grace we have is his goaltending situation. I don't like it personally. I think
He doesn't
it's
have
okay, but
he doesn't have a top end goaltending. That's the only thing that he
Previously I had
doesn't have.
said the goalie in Vegas. It's Samsonov that's in Vegas, I think. I
Yeah,
think I
it is
spoke.
Samsonov. I checked. I don't know where Varlamov is, but it's Samsonov.
Yeah, got my wrong Russian goalie.
So
But yeah, I think you're right. I think this is goaltending's his only Achilles heel, but when
yeah,
Luke Hughes is going to be on his third pair defense.
and
yeah,
Lundell is
it's
like
crazy.
might not even be in part of his lineup.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, for sure. Okay, and we can talk quickly on Pittsburgh. I don't know that there's too much we.
Rebuilding team. They made it to the Stanley Cup final 3 years
And
ago.
I will give him credit in that he didn't spend like a crazy person in free agency, like some of the bottom teams did.
You know, I don't want to call anybody out, but this is a team that I'm not sure what the plan is, and I haven't been for a few years now. I've been trying, like, because I try to watch what my opponents are doing, at least in the Metro. I really just can't put my finger on what's going on here in Pittsburgh.
Well, it was an odd teardown for a team that went to the Stanley Cup final. Like it was a surprising team to make it the year they made it.
Yeah,
But then to go into the offseason and just tear it down at that point and then not really build it up since then.
yeah. I just don't know what's going on, and I don't know if it's on tilt from losing, but I feel like it would be nice for every team to have a clear direction. One that you could see in their actions and in their roster. And just, there's a few teams out there that I just can't figure out what they're doing. I should probably ask them. I really want to
Yeah.
scratch that itch.
Well, I wonder sometimes in trades that he makes. And he was one of the ones that we called out for the shenanigans trade with Flax with the Islanders, where they traded the same player back and forth at the trade deadline and then back when trades opened up again. So I don't know. Let's look at team future here. Three
Well,
first-round picks. That
the
looks
good
nice.
thing. So now he has a clear direction. But before this, he didn't, because he didn't have a first round pick last year. He's got
Yeah,
some
I guess he didn't.
he's got some decent prospects, but he's acquiring picks. He's got Reinbacher, Yager, or Jaeger, and then it was somebody else. Lekaramaki.
Reinbacher.
Um,
Lekaramaki, I think is who you're
yeah.
thinking about.
So yeah, he's got some, but not enough to be able to be ready to start over.
Right. So I think the question for me then is how many years is this plan of yours? Like how long before your team becomes relevant?
Oh, he is at least 4 years away.
All right. So you've been out of the playoffs for 3 years,
At least 4 years.
and then you're going to be out of the playoffs for 4 more years.
Well,
I don't know. I
Brandon
just
Yeager's not in the NHL for at least 3 years.
I
Yeah.
just personally
You
I
go
could
down.
never sit through a rebuild that takes more than like 2 years, 3 years maximum. If you're doing a 7, 10 year rebuild, I don't know. I don't get that. That's a lot of patience.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we'll just go to finances. I mean, rebuilding. He signed Malkin in free agency. That's right. I'm assuming Malkin's a trade.
Malkin was free agents pickup this year.
Anybody? Hendrix Lapierre, I guess. I don't know. He's kind of been a disappointment to this point.
Yeah, I expect him to make the NHL this year because he had a really good playoffs and he played some in the NHL. One guy I thought that was going to be in the NHL already was Ryan Suzuki. Disappointed
Yeah.
that he.
Okay, and his depth charts. I just can't see this team if this is Pittsburgh and Washington's battle this year
Yep.
for the bottom of the division.
Yep.
Don't need to say much else. Although Corpusalo is a starting goalie. Okay, and that leaves us. Is that Washington left?
Yeah, Washington left.
Okay, and this again, we're talking about tearing down. I think Gage has a plan, so I think it's a little bit different. And Gage has acquired a whole bunch of young players, but I didn't think he should have tore it down personally, and I told him as much. 3 first-round picks. So. He's got some good young players, so Joe.
Yep.
I'll let you comment.
He did well in the draft. So he got some young prospects and he's rebuilding. So he's got a direction he's going with.
Yeah.
So I think in Ziv Buomi, I think he got the best defenseman in the draft.
And he went like 12th in the NHL. Like it was like ridiculous.
Yeah. So
okay, and here's his contracts. Again, hard to who cares? Because a lot of these guys, aren't going to be on his team in a few years anyway. But there it is.
the guy I'm curious about is Spencer Knight.
Is he out of the
He's back. He should play this year. The one thing that I think it might cause some issues for for Florida, is can they afford him? Because I think he's back to playing. He's no longer in the player assistance program. So, what's going to happen with him?
Well, it's interesting because he was And I still think he was a good NHL goalie prospect, right?
Yep.
Like, no, I mean, real
So
life problems, right?
yeah. So right now, Florida has him as a one of their players, and they're under the cap. So
Well, he doesn't have a big contract, does he?
yeah, 4.5 million.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
much more than you'd like it to be, that's for sure.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, so yeah,
And
okay. So that's it for that. I mean, Gates not a playoff team. Hopefully, in the draft lottery conversation or whatever. Okay, boys. Now it comes down to now it's time for our final rankings.
yes.
And maybe what we'll do this time, because Mark is the guest, is we'll let him say his first.
Mm-hmm.
He'll go down one and say
Yeah.
his, and then we'll tell him how he's wrong.
Sure.
And,
Okay.
So we start from the bottom or the top?
Start from
it's
the
up to you. You can decide.
I start from the bottom. Save it. The best for last, literally.
yes.
I got coming in at the bottom of the division, number 8, the Penguins.
Okay, I have Washington.
I have Washington also.
Jean, if we're the same again this week, it's like we're never doing a show
And you
together.
know what, Mark? Pittsburgh, Washington. You put them in a bowl, you mix them, and
Yep. I'm thinking a little bit about GM action this year, and I have to think that Washington will get a little worse for the end of the year, and Pittsburgh will get a little better. And that's kind of why I picked it that way.
So I guess we can agree that Gage is much better at making his team worse
well,
than Sean.
I think
Strategically, I think.
I think Gage is very motivated to lose this year.
Mhm.
Yes.
That's
I
why
think
I've
he'll
got
find
him
a
at
way.
But Pittsburgh, Washington, there's no way I'm putting money on either one of them finishing 8th above the other one, because I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh finished from late.
So we can just skip ahead, I guess, because 7
Do,
for
do you
you
have
is
Washington.
Washington at 8 at
Yes.
7?
Yep. So number 6, I have the Rangers.
same.
Same.
I think definitely a team that's not going to be in the playoff picture, really, no matter what they do. I think, but then with number 5 here, I do think the Blue Jackets are going to potentially squeak in.
I
So
have
they'll
them
be on
there
the
also.
edge.
And I agree. They're right there.
I agree. So Jean and I are still 2 weeks into this, have not had a differing pick.
Well, I'm guessing somewhere in the top 4 here, some changes are going to be made, because I think it's hard to pick these top 4.
I agree.
So I've got the Hurricanes coming in at 4th, and that was tough for me to do because I toyed with them and another team, which you'll hear here in a moment. But I thought the goaltending was what they lacked, and I thought that was enough to position them down.
Yeah, I'm
Same
the
thing.
same.
Same thing.
Okay. Number 3, I have the Devils, the New
So
Jersey
do I.
Devils.
I have a different pick.
All right. What do you
And
got?
Flax will say I'm being a hater.
I'm
And
going to say you're being a hater.
okay, I went with them at 3. And again, though, I will say this, because it was the same thing last year where we did this, and it was all the teams were so friggin' close. Like, I don't think it's going to be a handful of points, but the Islanders had a stacked team last year and barely made the playoffs. So my logic was they have a lot of the components that are the same, and I'm assuming that they're going to be better than they were last year, but just still not better than the top 2 teams in the division. So that was my logic. Not hating on them, but because their team barely made the playoffs last year, I felt it was a safe bet that they would still be below the top 2 teams.
So I put New Jersey 3rd because I think the defense needs some improvement, and Mark is right against the cap, so he doesn't have a lot of wiggle room there. And then so that's why. And the other two teams I have above him. So go ahead, Mark. Who do you have second?
Yeah. I got the Flyers coming in at number 2.
I have the New Jersey Devils coming in at number 2.
I would
I
love
have the-
that. I'll take that. But
I have the Islanders coming in at number 2.
I think the Flyers have a amazing team and a really solid coach GM, right? I'm going to give him that. Josh is good at what he's doing. And I
Yeah.
think they have a lot of depth too, which is what really makes them stand out in this division or really in this league. But I think their offense is significantly weaker than the Islanders, and really everybody's is in the division. The Islanders have a sick offense and a really good defense and really good goaltending. So I just can't see how they aren't the top team, except for if, and this I think happens if you have too good a team, I think it can hurt you. That's what I'm
Well,
hoping for.
which I think I think there is something to that because it seems to happen every year with the sim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have the Islanders second and Philly first. I just think that the Flyers just have the best team in the league this year. So he's just good everywhere, and his goaltending is good enough to get him to where it needs to be. The team in front of that goaltending is just so good that the goaltending doesn't need to stand on his head for him to win. And I have the Islanders second because Flax makes trades and he's got tons of assets to make good trades. So he's going to get his team even better than where he is. So that's why I have him there. That's second.
Okay. Well, I have Philly with the best team, and I think they're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the whole league. So, I mean, I don't think I think the only difference that we have, Sean, is New Jersey and the Islanders flip. And I fully say that it's a bit of a hot take for me to say that, but I also caveat that by saying I don't think it's a big difference. Like I think we're talking about 2 or 3 points tops. Like those 3 teams are going to be battling it out all year. And
just like Pittsburgh, Washington finishing 7th, 8th, Philly, New York Islanders, and New Jersey, to me, could be mixed in 1, 2, 3
order
by the end of the year, and I would not be surprised.
Yeah, there's to me, there's definitely 3 tiers in the division with the top 3 teams, and then the Carolina, Columbus, and then maybe the Rangers are their own little tier above Pittsburgh and Washington, but they're not really that much better than them either.
And although last week I said that the Atlantic Division was much better, I think that Carolina, if they were in the Atlantic Division, they would finish first.
They'd at least fight for it.
Yeah.
The goaltending might hurt them, but they're there, offense and defense, no question.
It's not I'm not. There's no taking a shot at Carolina and Columbus.
No.
They are definitely contenders for the playoffs, and I would say likely both getting into the playoffs. But you just don't know how the Atlantic's going to play out. So
yeah, but I think Carolina is that good, even though I have them 4th. It's just that Philly, New Jersey, and the Islanders are just so good.
I don't think you can put them ahead of any of those teams. So
no.
Okay, well, that is, again, you don't have to run the sim at all. The Metro has been decided.
Yep.
And I mean, we're one step closer to the championships because we've decided 2 of the divisions. We just have to do 2 more. Next week we'll do the it's not the Pacific, what's
The
it
Central.
called? The Central. Thank you. We'll do the
We're going
Central next
west.
week.
We're going west.
Sorry?
We're going west.
We're going west.
We're going
Yes. And hopefully we'll have a GM from there that'll join us. Somebody, preferably someone we haven't had on before, because we want to give everybody a chance to voice their opinion. I mean, it's nobody wants to listen to John and I talk all the time. Even my wife sends me in here to do this because she doesn't want to hear me talk anymore. So, welcome to somebody from the Central, maybe somebody we haven't seen before, maybe the new GM in Nashville. Maybe we can talk him into joining us.
That'd be really
Maybe.
cool.
Yes. Yes, that would be cool.
I mean, he's already made more live draft picks than all of their previous Nashville GMs combined.
Yeah.
So maybe we can have him appear on a live. And I actually did. I'm in another league with him, and I actually got him to do a mock draft live, which you can watch on our channel. I think we can call it there.
Yes. I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Special thanks to Mark. Thank you very much for joining
Mark.
us. You were great.
Yeah, thanks, man. I
Good
appreciate
job.
you having me.
Join us again.
Except for being wrong on your order at the
Naturally,
end. I think you did very well.
I guess I was just being too humble with my Devils because they're gonna finish in second. So I mean that's great. I was hoping to beat the Islanders, so it just makes me really happy. And maybe I'll even play them in the playoffs with that positioning.
Oh,
Well, and that would
And
just be about a guaranteed sweep.
pretty much, you can bank
Yeah.
on it. There you go, Flax. Oh no, you'll get one win this time. You'll get one win.
Oh Lord. Okay, well, yeah, no, thank you. And welcome anytime. We're happy to hear that you actually watch our show.
Yeah,
I
like I
know.
said, it's a little late each time, but I do watch it every time, and you guys
Well,
are great. And yeah, if you ever have space for me again, I'd love to be a part of it. It's awesome.
well, if we don't get any volunteers, maybe we'll make you come on again and do the Metro or the Central. There you go.
Yeah.
I'll be around.
That sounds like a great idea.
Okay, Jean, any words of wisdom for the little people?
Keep your stick on the ice.
Yeah, and don't come calling for Tisha Ginla. Okay, boys. Ciao.
Have a good one.